singing country music. That's what I've always dreamt of doing as a young boy. Growing up in South Carolina, it was out of the ordinary to dream such a dream. I moved to Nashville to get a record deal, and I didn't really know what I was doing. My faith was really tested. I wrote this song called Long Black Train. When I laid the pen down, I said, nobody's ever going to want to hear this.
In Fairfield County, something new comes across my desk every day. Crimes are committed, cases are solved, and a community is made safe by the hardworking employees of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office. Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phelan, a weekly program here on LSN Time Warner. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each every week. We have the students here at Fairfield Christian Academy, our executive producer Kelly Roberts, and back by popular demand, Lieutenant Alex Lape was here last week talking a lot of things about the patrol division within the Sheriff's Office. And do appreciate you being back here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Now, last week we were talking about the cruiser areas, the sectors. We also have different substations that the deputies report out of.
Yeah, we have the Bremen substation, we have the Canal Winchester substation, and the Violet Township substation that the deputies work out of.
Okay, and the main area is downtown, here in downtown Lancaster.
The main office is 342 West Wheeling is the patrol headquarters. Of course, 221 East Main Street being the main jail in your office located there.
And the hope is when we get the new jail, we're going to be able to consolidate 3 existing jails, the patrol division, the fiscal part of it, and hopefully we're going to get that started here very soon.
Yeah, it's going to be nice to have everything in one location.
Yeah. Now, before airtime, we talked, or last week, we also talked a little bit as we went off the air about if there would be some kind of an emergency situation within the county, whether that would be some type of a terrorist attack, whether it would be like a natural thing like they've been talking out at Buckeye Lake, a tornado, a host of different things that could happen. What are some of the things that we do within the Sheriff's Office to prepare for those kind of situations?
Well, a lot of it comes down to planning. Typically, for a lot of the different situations that you described, there's a plan that's either been created through the EMA, the Emergency Management Group downtown. John Coaches runs that. We work really closely together and share information and things of that nature. But any kind of the event, whether it's a tornado, a natural disaster of some type, or a human factor involved in the situation like you described before, whether it's a terrorist type activity, we have a plan put in place to deal with those type of things.
And you've done a lot of work with the schools over the years, right?
Right. Over the years, the schools have been tasked with creating their emergency operations plans that we've partnered with them and helped create some of the different responses to those type of threats. So, yeah, each school has their own plan. We have plans. It's all about planning
and practice, right?
And training and practice.
Right, right.
Those are key things.
And I think every time we see some situation, whether it's some shooting at a school, whether it's a natural disaster, we take things away from those events to help us in future events within the different areas of the country.
Yeah, the unfortunate activities that occur in other jurisdictions kind of are, you can use that as a training type, model for where any deficiencies that you may experience are located.
And I would sense that there's probably a interdependability on working with the other agencies.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time working with the Pickerton Police Department, the Lancaster Police Department, the other sheriff's offices that are in adjacent counties, Franklin County, Perry County, Licking County. We try to keep a good relationship with all those folks. So,
now the other area that you've had some expertise in is our SWAT team.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how the SWAT team's set up and and it operates a little bit differently than some areas where they have a full-time SWAT team.
Right.
Ours are, we don't have a full-time team, but we have a team that's available 24/7.
Yep, we have what's typically known as a collateral team, where the meaning in that is that it's not their primary responsibility. Each one of them, the members on the team, have a primary responsibility, whether it's jail, patrol, one of the specialized units. So that's their primary job, and then if we have an event that occurs, then we can pull them as needed from those positions to fill a required response within the SWAT unit. We also have some of the Pickerington officers who are now part of our SWAT team. So it's a little bit different in that regard too. We have a Pickerington sergeant and 3 of their patrol officers who are now members of our SWAT team too.
So let's say that there's some situation, a barricaded situation at 3 in the morning or a Sunday afternoon. What happens during that time?
Well, typically what happens, the SWAT, or the patrol persons that are on the scene are going to make the determination whether this is something that they can handle, they can't handle. Typically, if it's a barricade situation, they're going to recognize it as such and do what they need to do to make notification to the SWAT operations commander, myself, or one of the team leaders, and then we'll activate a paging system which will call in a lot of the guys that can respond. To break down our structure within that unit is I am the SWAT commander, and then I also have an operations commander who works with me under that and kind of directs and dictates how responses are conducted to different type events. Underneath him, he has 4 different team leaders. He has 2 standard team leaders and then some assistant team leaders that actually also can coordinate different things as well. We also have Thames medics that are part of our SWAT team, and we have dedicated vehicle drivers that some of them are volunteers, some of them are paid members of the team that are paid by the sheriff's office, but we have some volunteers that do that as well. They go through different training too, just to drive the different vehicles that we have. So
a medic during some type of an emergency situation stands by in case there's some kind of a shooting or something like that, right?
Our Thames medics actually, if you saw one of them in their gear, they would look just like a SWAT team member. The only thing that you would notice is that they have a placard on their vest that identifies them as an emergency medic, and they also don't carry any weapons.
Okay.
They may have a holster that doesn't have a weapon in it, but that's just so if one of the team members is injured, they can take custody of that person's weapon and holster it for them.
And typically, what would be one of the most common reasons you would be called out?
Typically, it's going to be probably a high-risk warrant that we're serving, where
okay.
For any warrant that we have, we do a warrant risk assessment, and we do that throughout the whole sheriff's office. So if this warrant reaches an elevated level based on a person's history and what their proclivity to current actions are, it's given a point score, and if the score reaches a certain level, then the consultation with the SWAT element is required, and at that point we'll determine the response.
Okay, changing gears a little bit, I know for the last several months you and a number of our officials within the sheriff's office have been updating our policies and procedures. Mm-hmm. And I've often thought that there's really 3 components to a good law enforcement agency: the supervision, the policies and procedures, and the people you'll hire. Mm-hmm. So I think we understand within the sheriff's office how important it is to have best practices in all of our policies and procedures. Tell us a little bit about how that's worked.
Well, it's a pretty, sometimes it can be a little dry, but
right.
You know, like you've described, it's a necessary thing that needs to be done. What we do is we review policies. We have some policies that are put on the chopping block, so to speak, for us to dissect and make sure that it's actually a working policy that we can implement and that it works the same way that we historically are used to doing business. Some of the things that need to be changed within those policies are due to current trends. New laws that
Social
are passed.
media too.
Exactly.
It's been big.
Anything that goes on. Social media is a big portion of it. The different elements of social media. Any changes in the law, we have to make sure that our policies adapt to that, and that they're keeping everybody within the framework that makes for a good policy. It's pretty obvious when you look at something that's a proposed policy and read through it, and it's like, nah, that's not how we want to do business, or that's not how we do business, and it just doesn't fit. So we kind of mold them and shape them the way that we need them to be for our agency, and they as long, we make sure that they're still the same framework that's been reviewed by an attorney, and it's been deemed to have the proper legalities attached to it that it needs to be a solid policy, and that's how we handle it.
And these can be as simple as make sure that you look sharp, you have your shoes tied, you have a nice haircut, as to how you're going to react in a vehicular pursuit, right?
Exactly. It covers every aspect of being a sheriff's deputy, from how you're dressed to how you handle a call, and then some from that. Equipment, how you maintain your issued gear. It just goes on and on. And there's finally some light at the end of the tunnel in this review process. We've been doing it for about 6 months now.
And I think a lot of agencies get into trouble when they have policies and procedures, when they have standard operating procedures that they never update. And some of them go back, 30 years, and they really haven't kept time. So a few months ago, we were probably 10 years where we had kind of have the same policies and procedures, where we completely start to go through everything we have, looking at best policies from different agencies, and just kind of saying, what needs to be taken out, what needs to be added. Things change. So the social media has become far different than it was 10 or 15 years ago.
It's huge now.
The liability for certain actions have really changed the dynamics on how we operate.
Yeah, a lot of the different case laws really can influence your different policies. So like you stated, it's got to be something that you periodically review to make sure that they're still functional.
Well, the other thing that we talked about is the three tiers, the policies and procedures, the supervisors, and I'm appreciative of all the work you do. Lieutenant Lape's the third highest official within the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office, takes care of our road division, does a great job in charge of SWAT, and just a lot of responsibility.
There's a lot of things.
And 24/7 for you too. I mean,
Yes.
we talk on the weekends, or you'll call me in the middle of the night, or so lots going on.
Yep. The phone never stops ringing, it seems like sometimes.
And one thing I think, and we're almost out of time, but one thing I think is kind of interesting for our viewers and listeners, at the end of every shift, whether it's in the jail or the road, there is a report that's electronically sent out, so we know all the runs, all the issues that went on during the prior 8 hours. So that's been very helpful to me, and I know to you,
Yes.
is to keeping abreast on what's going on with the county.
Yep, that's for sure.
Lieutenant Alex Lape, our road commander, veteran of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office, does a great job. I'd like to have you in a little bit more often, because there's so many interesting things to talk about, and if we get into some major events, we may want to just come in and talk about those.
All right, sounds good.
Well, I do appreciate the students here at the Fairfield Christian Academy, our executive producer, Kelly Roberts. Most of all, the viewers and listeners that make this program possible. I'm so appreciative of all the kind comments I get throughout the community about this program, and the terrific job the men and women of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office they do each and every day. Well, the clock on the wall says we've got to go until next week, same time, same place. God bless, and we'll see you right here next week.
When it comes to choosing a school, parents who want the best education for their students look for academic excellence, skilled teachers, a safe school that encourages their values. Students want a school with competitive athletics, unique opportunities, and friendships that last a lifetime. Fairfield Christian Academy, the place where parents and students agree. Enrolling now at fairfieldchristianacademy.com.